special edition is a special focus on the circus around the opening of Parliament on Thursday evening. It was an absolute embarrassment to the nation. It is something that every citizen in the country should speak about. We cannot, in all good conscience, stay quiet and just be spectators to this circus. It is our duty to speak out.
Yes, Honourable
Madam Speaker, I rise on Rule of Order 14S to draw your attention to the fact, Madam Speaker, that the cell phone feed has been jammed. A device has been installed in the Assembly. I would submit to you, Madam Speaker, that this is in direct violation of Section 59(1)(b) of the Constitution.
We will make sure that the Secretary follows up on that issue.
Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Maimane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can I request that we want South Africans to hear ideas. We want to hear them the State of the Nation address. We simply cannot proceed unless we disconnect that blocking device. We want to allow, if you rule, Madam Speaker, that we must proceed with that blocking device on, we will challenge that ruling in Parliament, and if it needs be, we will take this Parliament to court, because that's unacceptable, Madam Speaker.
Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Shibambu, while I am on the floor, can you please take your seat?
Are you going to note me though?
Take your seat.
Please note me immediately you finish that, because
Honourable
I want to give
Shibambu,
a concrete proposal on
Honourable Shibambu, I am talking. While I'm talking, you take your seat.
Which rule are you using, my Honourable Speaker? Which rule are you using to deny members to raise a point of order? They are protected by the rules.
I am now.
You cannot be emotional about it.
Honourable
Point us the rule which gives you powers to deny us point of
Honourable
orders.
Malema, I now have to ask that you leave the chamber.
On a point of order, Chair.
I will ask now
on a point of
the
order.
Sergeant at Arms to assist
on a point of order,
Malema to
on a
leave
point
the
of
chamber.
order.
Honourable Speaker.
On a point of order, Chair.
Honourable Speaker.
On a point of order.
Honourable Steenhuisen, are you standing on a different point?
And so I would just ask you, we really do want to proceed, but we will require an answer from you whether those members who came onto this floor with firearms were members of the South African Police Service or the Parliamentary Protection Services.
There is no way I could, sitting here, be able to pick out who is police and who is not police here.
Tonight is a national disaster for the people of this country. What took place here today should never, ever happen. It is a parliament that is now being used to protect President Zuma at the level that you can break down any rules, any constitutional arrangement where the police can be used that ultimately the police intimidate any opposition parties. I don't stand in defense of the EFF. I stand in defense of the Constitution of the Republic. And what the ANC did today was a breakdown of the Constitution. We cannot accept that. We can't do that.
Do you think he could have maybe handled this whole thing differently?
Of course Jacob Zuma could have handled this entire situation differently. Why did we find ourselves in this position in the first place? Because of Jacob Zuma and the Nkandla issue. Had he addressed the Nkandla issue, we would not have found ourselves in this embarrassing situation. I understand the argument from the EFF that say they have been trying to raise this question with him on many occasions. And he either ducks the question or he simply is not available to. And that is why the EFF was forced to do what they did last night.
Yeah, it was almost a premeditated murder of freedom of speech
yes.
and freedom of information.
Because the entire thing was stage managed. We need our foreign audiences to understand what is going on in South Africa. We cannot rely on SABC News because that is sanitized and censored. We cannot rely on ETV because of shareholding and that kind of thing. There will always be influencers saying, no, that you can't say, that you can't say.
Some sort of censorship.
Yes, exactly. We are independent, ladies and gentlemen, and we wish to bring you the full story of exactly what happened. To give you an indication of how embarrassed we as a South African nation, how embarrassed we are for that man having stood up there last night with that stupid grin on his face, showing absolutely no statesmanship.
Do you feel that the president showed statesmanship at all?
No, I don't think the president even showed the responsibilities at all. Like you said, he should have just answered them. But then at the same time, he was more concerned with delivering the speech other than to answer any other questions, as the speaker addressed. So the issue that I was actually concerned with, it was the issue where the speaker kicked out the members of the EFF because he didn't really ask them to withdraw their statements.
Also correct. Yeah. And the blocking of the cell phone signal?
And the blocking of the cell phone signals as well, it was quite out of order. Yeah. And then she asked the members of the SAPS to come and kick out, and they were well armed. And when Mushimaiman tried to get clarity out of that as well, he didn't get it at all.
I think as a nation we stand embarrassed today. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that. Yeah. I do agree with that quietly. I mean, today I can't say I'm proud of South African.
How do you as young people feel about what happened in Parliament last night?
I think it was childish because we found people, grown-ups, fighting like toddlers, which was unacceptable.
And for yourself, then?
I think they lack discipline because they were on international TV. Every nation was watching, so it's so embarrassing for our country to act like that. And they are adults.
Yeah.
What has happened in Parliament last night clearly is an indication that South Africa is turning into a police state. And foreign investors in our country, please, people, take heed of this warning. We are fast heading in the route of Zimbabwe. And unless we have your support in stopping people like Jacob Zuma, you have no chance of succeeding as investors in this country.
No, they don't.
Jacob Zuma has over 700 corruption charges that can be brought against him. The minute that man steps off the podium as state president, I hope they institute all 700 of those criminal corruption charges against him. Jacob Zuma is not fit to be our president. He is not fit to lead our country. The executive is under his absolute control, and he makes a mockery of democracy, even though he is the first one to remind everyone that we are living in a so-called democracy. And I have said this in a previous episode of our show as well. A democracy is not a democracy if you have to be constantly reminded of the fact that you are free and that you are in a democracy. If we were in a true democracy, we would not have to continuously remind people of the fact that the country is actually on paper a democracy, and that is what it is on paper. Otherwise, there's some serious doubts whether our democracy is going to survive under Jacob Zuma.
Which I cannot see happening.
No. So, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a harder episode, a bit of more of a serious subject. but it is an effort to get you all talking about this subject. Please share this video with as many people as possible. Get this out to an international audience so that they can see the true state of affairs, of what is really happening in South Africa, without the news being sanitized or censored.
Thank you for joining us on this special edition of The Go Show. Go like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter.
We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.